This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Welcome to our first episode of our journeys, Century of Asia, the 21st century. And of course, our particular focus on Philippine and China relations. We go about this in Taglish, meaning English and Tagalog or Filipino, because we have to explain to our Philippine domestic audience while also considering our audience outside the country. So, ito po ang ating unang episode o palabas dito sa buwan ng Hunyo, dito sa ating journeys. Chronicles of our Asian Century, yung pagtatala ng mga nangyayari sa Asia po, dito sa ika-21 siglo na tinatawag na Asian Century. At tayo ay magpo-focus, magbibigay ng pansin, we will pay attention and focus on the great improvement in the drugs, illegal drugs problem in the country. And of course, President Duterte has since announced in this first few months of 2018, on a 10-point danger scale, President Duterte said, the country's drug problem has been reduced from a sixth of an 8.5 level of about one-fourth, and would still transcend the administration, President Duterte admitted recently. So there has been a 25% decline in drugs incidence from a previous 10 to an 8.6 and another 25% improvement down to 6 on the level of severity of the problem. And of course, these are the real numbers as the Presidential Office for Communication has kept explaining. And let us read their recent report. This is read out by Assistant Secretary Ana Marie Banag of the PCOO, Assistant Secretary, with data from the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and other relevant agencies. And in the briefing, this is the report. Significantly, PDEA and other law enforcement agencies dismantled a total of 183 illegal drug facilities, composed of 174 drug dens and 9 shabu laboratories. These are recorded and factual. The anti-drug operations concluded also resulted in the seizure or confiscation of 2,610.37 kilograms of methamphetamine hydrochloride or shabu worth 13.41 billion pesos, posting 166.62 million pesos increase since January 17 of 2018. Dangerous drugs, controlled precursors, essential chemicals, and laboratory equipment confiscated from July 1st of 2016 to February the 8th of 2018 were worth 19.61 billion pesos, posting an increase of 269.74 million pesos since January 17, 2016. So, alam naman ninyo yung mga figures dyan po, ano? Ang lalaki ng mga nahuli na Nasara ng mga shabu laboratory, 9 na po, drug dens ay 174. Yung mga halaga ng mga shabu na nakumpiska na, nahuli, ay tumaas, posting a 166.62 million pesos increase for a total of 2,610 kilograms ng shabu. On the barangay drug clearance operations as of January 2018, a total of 5,327 barangays have been declared drug cleared. This is out of the total drug affectation or affected barangays of 24,000, or bringing the drug affectation nationwide to 24,134 still affected barangays, representing 52 or 57.42% of the 42,036 barangays nationwide. So there's a lot to do, pero malaki na po ang naibaba at nailinis na mga drug barangay affected areas. Nagkukulang ang pag-uulat po nito dahil yung sensational news reports ay laging yung mga killings daw and so on. Of course, itong mga nakaraang buwan of 2018 na iba naman doon sa Sereno case and so on. But pag mawalan na po sila ng mga bagong issue, babalik po yan dyan sa mga drug killings and so on. When the important thing, aside from the correct figures in the drugs war-related casualties, ang importante ay yung success po ng anti-drugs campaign, anti-illegal drugs campaign. Well, at least there are some newspaper people like Fred Lobo who are reporting this from the Manila Times, and he says drug problem reduced by 1/4, and a very good rating that inspires President Duterte. Of course, isa sa mga magandang at malaking pangyayari, kaya naging malaking tulong po dito sa kampanya ni Presidente Duterte laban sa illegal na mga droga, a very big event that helped in the success or the win, as we call it, the victory and continuing victory of President Duterte in his campaign against illegal drugs, is this incident in 2016 or 2017. Let's look at it. The report, as reported by the South China Morning Post, Philippine authorities seize meth shipment worth $121 US dollars in millions, 121 million US dollars after a China tip-off. Ito po yung 6.5 billion peso na halagang na huli na mga smuggled illegal drugs na nakapasok na, pero tinip off ng Chinese customs yung kanilang mga counterparts dito sa Pilipinas at nadakip po itong shipment na to. At ito ay kasama, this is part of the Philippine-China cooperation, anti-drugs cooperation. That was the first significant success. And it's not reported, but the cooperation continues every day, and the other contributions from China continue pouring in. And this at least is reported in some international dailies. China and the Philippines vow to boost bilateral anti-drugs cooperation. Continuing po yan, tuloy-tuloy yan. And at least also we see the citizenry in Manila supporting this cooperation and this campaign. Meanwhile, tuloy-tuloy po ang tulungan ng Chinese government and the Philippine government and President Duterte batay sa mga kasunduan ni President Xi Jinping and President Duterte. Of course, it should be said at this point, China is a government that is one of the most vigorous in trying to suppress and solve this illegal drugs problem, even within China. Ang gobyerno ng China ang isang pangunahing gobyerno sa buong mundo. sa sigasig sa paglaban sa illegal na mga droga dahil po sa karanasan, sa kasaysayan ng China, kung saan nasira po ang lipunan ng China nung panahon ng Opium War. Siguro yung mga nakakaalala po ng kasaysayan ng China, napapag-aralan naman natin sa ating mga paaralan yan, maalala na ito ang bumali ika nga ng gulugod. The Opium War broke the back of the Chinese civilization. That is why China has always put the campaign against illegal drugs as a priority. Of course, there are those who keep, because of lack of knowledge, because of ignorance, keep suspecting China as a lackadaisical or lax doon sa kampanya laban sa droga. Hindi po totoo. The figures of executions of drug dealers, drug mules in China, I think is up to the thousands every year. And I can only say, I think up to the thousands. Those figures are not available. Those are confidential. But we have seen pictures on the internet, videos of the executions of convicted drug offenders in China. Akala po ng iba, people think China is a totalitarian state. They say it is a dictatorial state. It controls everything, therefore it can control the drugs. That is a society of 1.5 billion people, of a great expanse, and hindi po ganyang kadali ang pagsugpo ng droga. But of course, China has great success in containing it. But like all other societies in Europe, in the Americas, in Asia, and recently we will have a very brief report later on Bangladesh. Nagsimula na rin ang Bangladesh ng kampanya tulad ni Presidente Duterte na laban sa droga. And of course, Indonesia faces a bigger problem, I think, than the Philippines. We have had reports on that. But ang tulungan po ng China, the assistance and cooperation of China and the Philippines continues. And very recently, the Chinese Embassy and the Philippines Department of Health held the groundbreaking ceremony of the grant aid for dangerous drugs abuse treatment and rehabilitation center. This was last January, and this is the second of the two rehab centers. And this does not count the first rehab centers in Nueva Ecija. That's another matter. These two are assistance from the Chinese government. And andyan po, makikita niyo yung launching ceremony. So there are now two drug rehabilitation facilities, respectively in Sarangani Province and Agusan del Sur Province, Mindanao. They have been launched this year. The modern facilities would each be equipped with 150-bed capacity and a recovery service center. In fact, that's our next image. China earnestly exercises the many things that China is doing. China earnestly exercises its duty of inspecting import and export of precursor. Now, papaliwanag natin anong precursor chemicals at bakit may export ng precursor chemicals. Maraming nagtatanong dyan. Bakit ang China ay ang laki ng export ng mga precursor materials na tinatawag, We will explain it later. In 2016, China issued 617 export inspection letters on precursor material or chemicals involving 56 countries and regions on 12 kinds of precursor chemicals amounting to 54,000 tons and suspended 53 export deals through international inspection totaling 2,562 tons of precursor chemicals, namely potassium permanganate, acetic anhydride, and phenylacetic acid, and so on. Anong precursor? Ito po yung chemical na napupunta rin sa mga illegal na droga. Pero ang importante po, ito ay kaya legal ang export po nito at malaki ang demand all over the world. And China is not the biggest exporter in Asia. It is India in many of these chemicals. but almost all industrialized countries do export such materials. And this is what the perennial anti-China talking head na si Roy Logoles misunderstands. Hindi niya naintindihan ito. So this ex-National Security Advisor ni Gloria Arroyo, Goles, urges Duterte to ask China to stop drug smuggle to the Philippines. China does not smuggle to the Philippines. China is helping the Philippines stop the smuggling from wherever it is coming from. At kaya dapat intindihan nitong si Goles. Kaya may drug laboratory sa loob ng Pilipinas kasi nga hindi po dumarating ang mga yan na droga na ang karamihan. Meron tulad nung na-intercept sa customs, na tip-off ng China, droga na yon. Kaya na-tip-off niya, alam nila, nasubaybayan nila at tinip-off ang Philippine government. Pero yung ibang mga chemical, legal po na umiikot yan sa buong mundo. Tinetrade po yan dahil yan po ay nailalagay sa paggagawa ng ating mga cough syrup, mga bronchitis medicines, asthma medicines. I think we have it in the next slide. We have more time, we'll see later on. Acetic anhydride is used in many industrial processes for the production of plastics, textiles, dyes, photochemical agents, perfumes, explosives, and cigarette filters. However, AA, ang tawag po dyan, is also an important reaction agent for the illicit production of heroin, for the production of 1 kilogram of heroin, 1 to 1.5 liters of acetic anhydride is required. So, yung chemical ay nagagamit sa paggawa ng illegal drugs, pero ito ang mas maraming bulto po nito ay napupunta sa textile, sa gamot, sa perfumes, explosives, ang dami pong produkto. And yung isa po, or yung ephedrine, let's flash that image again, or pseudoephedrine, are used in nasal decongestants, are legally used to manufacture medicinal products against flu or allergies. Yan po yung ephedrine or pseudoephedrine. But they are also key products used in illicit production of methamphetamine. Only 1.5 kilograms of ephedrine or pseudoephedrine is needed to obtain 1 kilogram of methamphetamine. Assuming that one tablet contains 60 kilograms of ephedrine and pseudoephedrine, 25,000 tablets are needed to obtain 1 kilogram of methamphetamine. So, yun ang dahilan kung bakit ang impresyon ng iba, ng ilan dyan, malaking ine-export ang China na droga. Hindi po. Yun ang precursors na tinatawag. And it is not just China exporting. In many cases, we have data on that. India, and many other countries export larger than China. But that is why there are laboratories that have to be discovered, uncovered, and arrested, the people there, and closed down. But our problem is, itong droga po ay matagal na po, since the Opium War, several hundred years ago, and today, it is part of many geopolitical covert operations. And from an American website itself, Counterpunch, ito po, the U.S. Opium Wars, China, Burma, and the CIA. And I just cited one portion there. In 1988, a newspaper reporter named Elaine Shannon interviewed dozens of drug enforcement agents for a book, Desperados, on the international narcotics trade. The agents told her that the drug smugglers of Southeast Asia and the CIA were natural allies. Shannon wrote that the drug enforcement agents who served in Southeast Asia in the late 1970s and 80s said they frequently discovered that they were tracking heroin smugglers who were on the CIA payroll. So, matagal po itong labanan, pero maganda po na nagtatagumpay na po. And finally, Duterte has also said the campaign against drugs will be a long fight. So let's keep supporting President Duterte and keep encouraging China and the Philippines and the anti-drug enforcement agencies of both countries to continue their cooperation. and we continue to welcome the donations of laboratory equipment, spectrometry, and so on from China, and the training that is part of the cooperation of the two countries. Okay, next we will discuss our China Sea peace with China. Let's take